Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Radiant Ray. On today's episode, I'll be sharing with you how I bought a house at 23. Before we get into this video, I just want to thank y'all so much for the way y'all turned me up on my past video. I really appreciate it. Thank you all for being here. If you are new here, go ahead and subscribe and turn on that post notification bell so you can be notified every time I post a video. Let's get right into it. So before we start talking about the process of buying a home, I want to give you guys a little recommendation. If you are buying a home with someone else, whether that be your spouse, friend, whomever, I do recommend that you get you some type of security if you have to end up doing this thing on your own. A life insurance policy is very beneficial. We don't plan on those type of things happening, but granted, they can happen. So just make sure you are giving yourself that other source of security. Also, without even planning for something to happen traumatically, anything could happen. So make sure that you are not getting into something that you cannot afford on your own. When my fiance and I bought our home, we made sure that we could afford it as individuals as well, because people change and things change, and that's just the raw reality of it. Now this video is for people who are trying to buy a home by themselves or with another person. Everybody can benefit from these tips, so I don't want you to leave with the idea that this is only for people who are doing it with someone else. Now let me share with you how my fiance fed into me and I fed into him. He was the money saver. I was not interested in that because for a long time I did not have to save, which I know it sounds crazy, but my parents, they supported me for a long time, and they kind of still are. But in the bigger light, I was a credit fanatic. Like, I never wanted my credit to be bad. Like, even if it moves a little bit now, I'm like, what's going on? So I taught him credit, he taught me how to save. Now moving into the home buying process, let's discuss credit a little bit. I went a little different route than I guess some people when it comes to building credit. The way I did it does not have to be the way that you do it, but I will discuss with you what I did. So I bought a car my sophomore year of college, and I also got a credit card. Now with that credit card, don't go out here and splurge. That is not what it's for. What I did was I got gas and I put food in my dorm or apartment, whichever I was at the time. Those were already two necessities, something that I was going to already spend money on anyway. As soon as the bill posted to my credit card, I went ahead and paid it off. Typically, credit cards have a high interest rate, and you don't want interest to gain on your credit card, because you will wind up paying a lot more money for something than what it was actually worth. And the same thing with cars. So with my car, I made sure that I paid my car payment early because I wanted more to go towards the principal balance than the interest. So if you wait closer to your due date, the closer you wait to your due date to pay your car payment, the more of that payment is going to go towards the interest versus the principal balance, if that's making sense. So I wanted most of my payment to go towards the principal balance, because in the grand scheme of things, as my dad can say, you will end up paying more. You'll end up paying your car off faster. And another thing with that, I did when I could pay more on my car payment each month than what the actual payment was. I was never the type of person that wanted to pay $20,000 for a car that was only worth $15,000. No, that just wasn't for me. I wasn't interested in that. So you do need to establish you some credit. People think that credit cards are bad, but they are not. You have to be disciplined. You do not want to go and max out a credit card. That's not what I'm telling you to do. I'm telling you this now. If you are not disciplined, this is not for you. Find some other route, some other way to establish your credit, but I'm just sharing with you what I did. And also, I told my friends no. So there were a lot of times where I had to sit out because I knew that I had a goal that I wanted to meet. So I chose to stay home, and that's okay. So a little sacrificing is necessary. So moving on, before you even start looking for a home, I do recommend going to get pre-approved. Now, getting pre-approved can help you figure out a lot of things. Sometimes they can estimate what your mortgage will be, depending on how much you get pre-approved for. You don't want to go and start house shopping. You may fall in love with a $400,000 home, but the lender is telling you that you can only afford a $250,000 loan. They're only trying to give you that. So just make sure that you get a pre-approval. I recommend getting maybe 3 different pre-approvals. And I know you're probably saying, oh, they're going to run my credit 3 times. Each lender, they can run your credit again, but when they are pulling a FICO score, that same score is good for a while. I recommend getting 3 different opinions within 2 weeks, so like 14 days, because your credit score can change within about 14 days. So they can pull that same score. They can have that same information as the last lender. So that's good to know as well. After getting pre-approved, what we did was we got a realtor, and our realtor was really good. He was not just interested in selling a home. He was more so interested in us being happy. So we did let him know that we did not want to live within the city limits, but rather on the outskirts. And he made sure that happened for us. We did want that close access to the city, but not necessarily being in the city for different reasons. Because first of all, if you live in the city limits, you are going to pay for having that 5-minute or so access to all these great recreational things, or whatever the case may be. You pay for living close to things. Sounds crazy, but it's true. And I wasn't interested in that, and I still have pretty close access to all the fun things, or all the things that you need. So I was grateful about that. Let's talk about loans, conventional loans and first-time homeowners loans. So if you choose to go the conventional route, more than likely your credit score is higher and you're going to be putting something down. Lenders tend to trust conventional borrowers better than they do first-time homeowners, and that is because first-time homeowners, you really don't have to put anything down, and your credit score may be a little lower, but that's okay. And a lot of times with the first-time homeowners, your rate also may be adjustable. Don't be scared by that either. That's why they have refinancing. After 5 years or so, or however long, you will be able to refinance if you qualify, if you've been doing what you're supposed to do since you got the home, and then you can try to get a fixed rate. With the conventional loan, more than likely your rate will be better, and it could be fixed as well. So that's another thing that you can think about with that. So with that being said, you have to think about your closing costs with both of the loans. Everybody is going to have a closing cost, and they can also find that out at pre-approval. They can see an estimate of what your closing costs might be. They may not be able to see the exact thing, but they can give you an estimate. So keep saving your money for that. When it comes to closing, I would make sure that your realtor is helping you stay on top of the bank when it comes to sending out the appraiser. Now, some people will have the appraiser come out before everything is done, meaning they will have to come back out again. And things like that can push back your closing date, and you don't want to do that. So you want to close on time. So make sure that they are sending the necessary people out at the right times, so that won't delay your closing. That's all the little tips I have on buying a home. If there's anything else you want to know, then you can leave a comment or a question down in the comment section. If you want access to my realtor, if you want his information, I'll leave his information down there too. Just ask and I'll get you settled on that. Thanks for joining me. Bye.